If mainstream crypto media is correct about what is approaching, Cardano, Matic, and Solana all may see their prices get absolutely destroyed over the next week. And so with that said, in today's video, I want to give my opinion on it, what I'm expecting from all of this, why this might happen, and why I'm actually under the belief that the mainstream crypto media is probably wrong about this. So with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and of course, let's get straight into today's video. Now, as a quick refresh, I know we have talked about this before, but let's refresh here. Robinhood moves to cut support for Cardano, Polygon, and Solana. We can see here that Robinhood came out and said that they regularly review the cryptos that they offer, and based on their latest review, they've decided to end support for Cardano, Polygon, and Solana on June 27th, which is about a week from today. Now, what this means is that users have to withdraw or sell these assets for fiat or other eligible assets on Robinhood by this deadline. That's next Tuesday. Post that, these assets will be sold at market prices with the sale proceeds going towards the users. Now, this decision comes days after the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission sued Binance and Coinbase for a variety of allegations, with security law violations being common between the two charges brought by the regulator. Both the lawsuits allege that ADA, Matic, and Solana were unregistered securities, and they said that this introduced a cloud of uncertainty around these assets, and as a result, our team has decided to end support for them. Now, in my honest opinion, I think this is kind of expected. Of course, think back whenever XRP started to face all of its allegations against the SEC, we saw things like Coinbase delist them, and although it did somewhat impact the price and its capability of seeing movement into the future, it wasn't anything that was all that devastating for the community, as XRP's community is still huge. But with this in mind, let's talk about, what does this mean, right? Is this actually going to happen? How will this impact the prices of ADA, Matic, and Solana? Should you sell your cryptos right now? Should you just sell them and buy them back after that big sell-off happens? Let's talk about that, and let me give you my updated opinion now that a little bit of time has gone by. So, of course, what we have seen recently has given me a little bit of optimism about this. So, one thing that we have seen recently is that we were getting some updated information about the Binance versus SEC lawsuit, which did actually allow Binance to continue their operations here onshore in the United States. Now, although that does not address the fact that they're labeling these as securities, it does say that we're making quick movements here. And of course, when there are quick movements, there are quick decisions. People don't have to linger, people don't have to wonder, and when people don't have to wonder, they don't have to worry, right? And so considering the fact that there is some movement in that case happening, I do believe that that is overall optimistic and beneficial for what is happening with ADA, Matic, and Solana. Now, let's talk about the fact that, though, although that is the case, I still do believe that this could be pretty detrimental for their prices. We have seen their prices crash over the last few weeks, or the last week or two per se, and, I do believe it's justified, right? One thing you have to understand is that this is not a normal event, right? This isn't just your normal, oh, it's bad news, someone's banning crypto, someone's doing this, someone's doing that, someone said this bad thing about ADA Cardano. No, not really, right? This is a little bit different simply due to the fact that they are actually going to be selling the crypto, right? Think about this. If someone comes out and, who's a pretty notable name in the space, and they say, I don't like Solana. Yeah, some people are going to sell Solana because they don't think that's good news, and they think that that brings away a little bit of intrinsic value from Solana. But realistically, does that mean that the price must go down? No, the price doesn't have to go down just because someone said something bad about it. But under a circumstance in which a major platform, which has hundreds of millions of dollars of cryptos, says that they are selling those cryptos if people don't, of course, withdraw them or exchange them for something else, that forces a crash. That forces people to, of course, get out of those cryptos, because obviously whenever they sell them, the price goes down. And so what you have to understand is that, no, this isn't a normal event. This isn't normal bad news. This isn't normal FUD. If this is what is going to happen, the likelihood here is that it will cause the price to pull back to some extent. But with that in mind, let's kind of transfer that over into, well, should we sell our tokens? Should we be a part of that? Should we get out now in expectance of some type of pullback of that nature? Well, what I want to do is I want to actually bring you over to the charts, and I want to first and foremost show you why I don't believe that this is the best idea, and why even under the circumstances in which Robinhood does dump all these tokens, it seems as if we're putting ourselves in a position for much more people to buy up that dip that will be created, and it could mark some type of macro bottom for all three of these cryptos. But as I mentioned before, let's go ahead and let's jump into the charts real quickly, let me show you what I mean before I tell you what I mean. So looking at Solana's chart here, first and foremost, we can kind of just see what's happening already, okay? As you can see here, as a result of all of that bad news that we got about a week and a half ago, the price of Solana got absolutely destroyed. 34% to the downside isn't something to just scoff at, and I'm under the belief that that was many people factoring in the amount of Solana that very well could be sold. So in my opinion, the actual news itself has already been factored in, but remember, it's not just news, it's an actual event, and under the circumstances that this event does happen, well, of course, we could see its price pull back a little bit further. Now, although this is the case, I'm actually under the belief that I'm not going to sell my Solana because I believe it is too risky. I think that where we are in the macro cycle is too risky for me to start selling to try to get a better deal. Let me explain. So when it comes to Solana specifically, obviously there is a lot of speculation above its head, right? There's a lot of speculation from FTX. There's a lot of speculation from is it a security or not? There's a lot of speculation, but realistically, under the circumstances that a bull market does come, it has shown that it has the capability of really getting some beautiful price movement. And in my opinion, if this is the case, I would be willing to say that Solana could, under the right circumstances, reach back up to what, 150, maybe even, $75 to $80 to the upside. I think that's reasonable, especially considering what we saw right after the FTX crash, right? And so with that in mind, whenever I look at Solana, I think, look, after everything that has happened, from the FTX crash, from it being listed as a security, from the network outages, from the shutdowns, if we are still seeing this thing see a higher low, even after we're seeing Robinhood saying that they're going to sell some of their Solana, even after all of those things, Solana is still setting the higher low, still, or currently at least, still holding up well around this range. What I would be willing and capable to say is that Solana very likely is close to a macro bottom if it's not in yet. Yeah, sure, maybe it does continue a little bit further down. Maybe it comes back to backtest that $8 low. Realistically though, whenever we look at it from the grand scheme of things, if this is the possibility of the downside move here, if this is just about the amount of space that it has to the downside, but in our opinions, this is the amount of room to the upside, I would much rather just get ready to buy more Solana during this time than sell it during this time. This never end up happening, and then this move begins to the upside, and I miss it because I was getting greedy to the downside, when realistically, the opportunity wasn't all that big. It's kind of similar to this in my opinion, right? Imagine when Solana was finally starting to see this move to the upside here. I remember these days, and I was telling people, listen, we're getting a lot of bad indication right here. Okay, this is getting more and more and more risky. I think Solana's going to pull back somewhat soon. And if you are accumulating in here because you were getting greedy, trying to get just a little bit more gains, and then realistically your room and point of optimism to the upside was just this little bitty move, but your amount of room to the downside was all of this red down here, would you really have taken the risk of buying right here, knowing that there was very little room to the upside, maybe a little bit, but very little, with much more room to the downside? No, you simply would not have done that, right? And so under the circumstances in which it is the opposite, in which the room to the downside very likely is only this little bitty amount right here, but the room to the upside is all of this up here, why would you be trying to sell all of your crypto right now and hope to be able to buy it back a little bit, at a lower price? I simply just don't think it's the best idea. Now, I'm not just making this up. I'm not just freestyling. The charts say that this is somewhat probably true. Let's go ahead and let's look at this, okay? So what you can see here, let's get rid of that. So what we can see here on the daily chart prime oscillator is that our daily price for Solana is showing clear indication that a bottom is forming. As you can see here, we're getting these green reversal triangles, the oversold reading, green bullish momentum dots, and much more as the price did venture near this oversold threshold. Now, I'm under the belief that what we are seeing right now will likely continue to push to the downside. I don't think that it would shock me at all if we do get a little bit more movement down here, and we are seeing a pretty strong rebound here on this oscillator ribbon. So I think that, another pullback towards these levels, get some more oversold readings, a blue peak finder, maybe more green reversal triangles. If we do get a little bit more correlation here, then that's likely when that bottom is going to be formed. Then I don't think we're necessarily at a bottom yet. I do believe that Robinhood selling their Solana could crash the price, and so it wouldn't shock me if it does continue down a little bit more, but it does seem as if a bottom is forming, and it's just too risky to be selling right now, especially whenever you look at something like the weekly chart prime oscillator. We just got our first oversold box printing in a very long time. The last time that we got this yellow oversold box form was at the very bottom of this move, right before we saw this beautiful 150% plus pump to the upside, which got many people some beautiful gains. We are seeing Solana's price interact with that same exact indicator, and it wouldn't shock me if more do form as the price possibly does continue to venture down just a little bit. So as you can see from our daily chart prime oscillator and our weekly chart prime oscillator, both of them are saying that we're probably going to see a bottom relatively soon, and selling right now to pick up maybe 20% more gains is just a little bit too risky in my opinion. Now let's talk about some Polygon and let's talk about some ADA Cardano and why they are in very similar positions so you can get a feel for it. But before we do that, of course, I want to tell you just a little bit about today's sponsor, because I do believe that they are a great play to be making right now while we are waiting for Solana and ADA and Matic to see their prices maybe pull back just a little bit more before we buy them. Remember, I am always looking for different opportunities within the market while we are in this waiting phase within the top 10, top 15 cryptos. So this is one of those opportunities that I personally am taking advantage of. So as we can see here, today's sponsor is Lemono. Now, they are building a central hub for all of your loyalty points and cashback rewards earned from shopping on the blockchain. We will provide our users with solutions to have all of their rewards paid out in the form of Lemono tokens. Now, as many of you know, I'm under the belief that every single aspect of the world of crypto will feature some piece of blockchain. I just think that it is destiny and that it will happen, and this is one that I've not really seen taken advantage of just yet, which is interesting, and their business model fits in perfectly with the business models of these new microcap cryptos that we've been buying on the channel recently. So what's going to happen here is that you're going to have to mint your free Lemon NFT to gain access to their service. You will then earn a commission of up to 15% of your total purchase every time you purchase from one of our many affiliate partners across the world. Now, they do make this easy because you can connect your Lemon with your browser extension and be notified when visiting a partner of theirs. You can use their service to scan for active voucher codes and earn a commission from shopping itself. Now, in terms of the commission, when you purchase from one of their partners, they will share the affiliate commission with you. They will buy the equivalent amount of Lemon tokens from the open market and transfer it to your wallet. So basically, just to make it short, you're going to buy the NFT. The NFT gives you access to their service. Their service then allows you to shop with their affiliates, and when you shop with their affiliates, you're going to get a commission or a little bit of kind of a token back / cashback reward that is going to go straight to your wallet that is associated with your NFT. This basically just allows you to get some free tokens, some free crypto, some free money every time you do shopping, which everyone does shopping now anyway, right? Especially online, okay? Now, what's interesting about it is that there are many different amounts of money that you can make depending on what NFT you do get. There's a 50% commission share, 60% commission share, 70% commission share, and actually during the pre-sale for the participants, there's a 100% commission share and a 75% commission share. This means that the money that they are making, the commission that they are making through their partners from you shopping with them, they will then be distributing back out to you and re-injecting back into the price of the token itself because they're buying back these tokens. That fits in perfectly with the business models of many of these other cryptos that we have mentioned recently on the channel. And when the utility narrative does come back around, cryptos like these, I believe, are going to do extremely well. So they are in their pre-sale actually starting today. So if this is something you'd be interested in, make sure you do check out the pre-sale down in the description below. Let me know what you think, and do remember, pre-sales are always risky, so do proceed with caution. But with that said, let's move forward again, as we mentioned before, into Matic and into ADA Cardano. Now, I'm not going to harp too much exactly about the prices of each one of these because they're in very similar positions as Solana, as we did mention before. What we can see here is that Polygon Matic, of course, did see a beautiful move to the upside that is currently being retraced at the moment. In terms of our Fibonacci retracements, Polygon Matic is currently in its 618 to 786 box, which is historically a zone that will hold up some support. Now, as it is venturing closer and closer to the zone and somewhat entering it now, we are seeing the weekly chart prime oscillator get incredibly close to this oversold area, which it has not done yet since 2020. This is the lowest that its weekly chart prime oscillator has been at, and it is still setting a weekly higher low. And so with that in mind, I'm under the belief that this thing very likely is going to start getting those prints soon. It's going to get those oversold prints, those reversal triangles, those blue peak finders. It is likely to happen soon. Now, sure, maybe these things don't happen and these indicators don't print until we are a little bit lower, towards that 786 level, around 44 cents, around 40 cents. Sure, maybe that is the case, and maybe it does continue down a little bit further. But remember what I said before. Is it really worth selling to try to get a discount right now from here to here when the likelihood is at some given point we're going to see Matic set that new all-time high? I would not be shocked at all in which your upside potential could be this big with your downside potential maybe being this big, is it really worth selling those tokens? Personally, I don't think so. Cardano is in a very similar position, but it's actually moving a little bit further than Polygon Matic. What we can see here is that it just got its first weekly chart prime oscillator oversold box reading, which is this yellow box right here. Again, it has not happened before. Even in the last bear market and even throughout this entire bear market, we have never gotten one of these oversold readings. And what this tells me is that, especially while we are starting to see the new macro low forming, and as it does get closer and closer to this key point of liquidity and this key level of Fibonacci support, that we're very likely going to see a bottom put in somewhere in this area between maybe say 12 cents to 25 cents. I believe Cardano will be one of those cryptos that is around for a very long time. I think that they've done a lot of the core foundational building to be able to do so. And with that in mind, if that is the case, and we are going to see Cardano, let's say, just reach its all-time high in the next bull run, this is your room of opportunity to the upside. This is your possible opportunity to the downside. Likelihood is here that you should just be looking for a better opportunity to dollar cost average and buy some more, rather than selling your crypto, selling your ADA, selling your Solana, selling your Matic in order to get a better price, which may never come. Now, the reason I say it may never come is, sure, I am under the belief that we are going to see those cryptos sell off as a result of Robinhood selling those cryptos. But what you have to understand is that these are some of the biggest communities: the Cardano community, the Solana community, the Matic community, some of the biggest communities within Web3. And if you don't think that there are people who are sitting there ready, licking their lips, even whales licking their lips, ready to buy some more of these cryptos as they are forcibly sold off into the market, you are mistaken, my friend. And so with that in mind, I think that we're probably going to see this dip eaten up relatively quickly, even if that dip never comes, because it is just being bought up so much at a time, okay? And so with that said, I just don't believe it's worth it to fall into the hype. When everyone's saying sell Matic, sell ADA, sell this, sell that, I always think, maybe this is a good time to buy it, because when everybody else is being all scared, that's whenever I'm looking for opportunities. And so that's what I'm seeing currently with everything going on in the market, okay? And so what I want you to understand is that we are still in 2023, which I told you in January would be the year of manipulation. This is the year where everyone is going to try to trick you to sell your cryptos to give it to the bigger whales. This is one of those opportunities where if you fall for the hype, you very well could lose pretty substantially, and I just don't think it's worth it. Yes, your position probably will fall from this point forward, especially when Robinhood does start to sell. Your position might go down a little bit, but it's not worth the risk in my opinion. But of course, make sure you do your research to find out if it's worth the risk for you. But with that said, I will continue to update you as this all does play out. So make sure that you do subscribe to the channel so that you never miss another video, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Peace.